in this manner, and everyone being able to study through a venture like this, it's I think a great initiative. This did not exist 5 years earlier when we were preparing. So yeah, firstly that, and secondly, I think like I have been attending some of your classes. So how how your classes have been, I think, quite helpful to make people understand how strategy for CLAT should be prepared. What are the key problems that students face while studying for the exam? So even I think I would like to throw light on that fact only. I think on strategy aspect, it is first and foremost extremely important to understand that what CLAT expects from us. What is the what are the kind of questions that are getting asked, and especially since the pattern has changed, I think the CLAT exam is not merely about knowing too many facts, but it is a lot about how you read and analyze, read something and analyze your thought process in it, and how you apply a certain part of reasoning. So for instance, English section has become quite analytical now. Earlier it used to be, oh, I understand 100 and 200 words of vocabulary, so I think I can do pretty well in a section like English. But I think today it is all about how well you read and how well you understand the passages that are asked. So for that is one strategy bit that is quite important in a section like English. Then I think in legal also, the format has changed. So in my time, what I used to do was that I had a rule that before attempting any sectional tests for legal, I should be very clear about the concepts that are being asked. So for instance, you take defamation. We understand that there are two kinds of defamation. There's a libel, there's a slander. The general question that used to be asked from CLAD back then in 2015 were that we were given a principle. We had to identify whether a certain wrong committed is libel, whether it's slander, whether it's no defamation at all. So you have to apply a specific
Rajat,
principle.
sorry to interrupt you. Can you please? A lot
Yeah.
of people are asking. Can you please go a little? Can you increase your voice a little bit because I think you're
Yeah,
not.
sure. Is it better now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what I was saying was that the pattern has changed even in legal, but I think the key strategy still remains that the focus should be on understanding the concepts that are getting asked. If you're clear about your concepts, any fact situation that is thrown on you can be managed quite easily. So for instance, I was talking about a question on defamation. So general question that gets asked on law of defamation was whether in a certain fact scenario, whether it's a libel, whether it's slander, whether it's no defamation at all. So if you understand the key ingredients of defamation as a concept, I think any sort of question that you are getting asked in your tests is solvable. There is no problem with respect to a lot of people. I think what used to happen was that back in my days also, a lot of people used to think that what if we get a suddenly we get a completely different fact situation, how will we deal with that? But I think if your concept of a tort or a criminal law concept or contract law concept is clear, I think any fact situation can be dealt with.
Very
Then
right,
I
I guess.
think yeah. Then I think mocks. I think mocks is the golden rule when it comes to CLAT, because as you practice more, firstly your time management increases. So I personally, I think, would have attempted 50 mocks over the course of the year, and the number of mocks that you take when your exam is closer, I think, should be increased. Maybe some people are extremely comfortable with their preparation level. A mock a day, a month before the exam makes a lot of sense, and you can spend an hour analyzing what goes wrong, what went wrong for you in that mock, and correct on those aspects, because you will have a trend of your issues that you're facing while giving mocks. So that's quite important, because if you are able to understand the challenges that you're facing while taking mocks, you will be able to solve them. And without the mocks, if you keep just studying, you think that, oh, if I study, if I study 10 more questions of legal, then I'll be able to solve it. No, that's not how it works. I think solving questions is extremely important
So you're
with
saying
respect to
that
mocks.
along with the preparation, mocks must go hand in hand. That becomes very important, right? And
Yeah.
analyzing them becomes very difficult. Just doing mock for the sake of it does not make a lot of sense. Analyzing them, understanding the kind of mistakes you've been making, makes a lot of difference, right? It helps you avoid those mistakes at a later point in time. I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So I think like when you start your preparation, so for instance, in my time, the question paper used to be of 200 marks. When I started my preparation, I could never get more than, 80, 90 marks. And I used to think that like, what is that key ingredient that will help me increase my, scores? So once I took 5 to 7 marks, the score did not cross 100, but I realized that where I lack is the quant section, which is of 20 marks. I have difficulty and I waste a lot of time solving that section specifically. And at the same time, I'm taking a lot more time reading the LR passages, the the CR passages, in fact, the critical reasoning passages that we used to get. LR is more about syllogisms and the like. But CR used to take a lot of time to understand what it's trying to indicate and what it wants from you. So once I realized that these are the two pain points that I need to work more on my quant, and I need to waste little more time, so to say, allocate lesser time for my maths, and increase my reading speed in critical reasoning section. I think I can manage 130,
Right,
in the
very
range
right.
of 130, because maths and CR score would
So
increase, and that is
basically,
exactly what happened.
understanding the concepts or the sections that are your weak sections and then working upon them, that helps. And obviously, if you get a good mock score, it helps your morale also. Doing more and more mock and understanding your strengths and weaknesses, basically understanding yourself is very important in an exam like
Yeah,
this. So Rajat, what is happening
definitely.
is during this time, a lot of people have this specific problem wherein they do not have anybody else to talk to. We're all under lockdown. We're sitting at our homes. Okay, so that is one problem that a lot of us have, and a lot of students are really, I would say, demoralized. So how would you ask them, and how would you suggest them to stay motivated throughout their preparation in this scenario?
So I understand that the times are difficult. I think they are difficult for all of us. I mean, I have joined a law firm and I have not been able to step into my office till day. It's been 7 months that I've been working. We left college in such a sad situation. So I think all of us are facing a sad scenario. But I think at the same time there are pros and cons to this when it comes to when it comes to taking a competitive exam like CLAT, or for any exam for that matter, which is competitive in nature. So one of the biggest pros is that you are isolated. Your number of commitments to your friends, your family are quite less, and that can be utilized to your advantage. So I think boards have gotten cancelled, which means that a lot of people can just focus clearly on their CLAT preparation. They can increase the number of hours that they give on a daily basis to their CLAT preparation, and focus on their areas where they lack even further at this point of time, which was not the case, which could not have been the case in a usual year where you have many commitments, to your family, to your friends, you have your boards, etc. So I think that's the biggest pro that this year has provided us, that a lot of people can just sit in isolation and prepare, and focus further and spend more time.
That's a
But at the
very
same time, I
positive way
think,
of looking at it, I guess. That's a very positive way of looking at it, I guess. Yeah, you can actually help it because a lot of students are saving a lot of time by not going out anywhere. They can utilize all that time, all that energy in just one direction and do really well for themselves. Yeah, Rajat,
yeah.
you were saying something. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that there is the problem that is being faced, and I think that's the biggest con of this situation, is that you do not have a lot of human interaction. Because I think like preparation is not just a sole initiative. Like for instance, like I keep giving my own examples because I think a lot of people would be able to relate, as everyone goes through the same cycle for preparation of CLAT. So what I used to do was that used to have a peer group of people who I knew that I can rely on, who are sort of, I know that they're preparing seriously for the exam, they want to do well, and they were my friends. So I used to form a peer group of people, and we used to sort of decide that okay, on a Saturday at 8 to 8, from 8 to 10, we will sit together and we will take mocks. So we had taken like similar series of mocks, and that sort of used to be the motivational factor, that I knew that even if I do not have the motivation to take that mock on a Saturday night, my friends are taking that mock and they will ask the score and they will discuss the questions. So I definitely need to take that mock, and
Bilkul. I
that is
think
the
this is a
advantage of.
very good point actually. I think this is for all of you guys who are watching this session to note that you can actually, even if you're not able to meet a lot of people, we can maybe find somebody who can, who's really very serious about the preparation, and we can start doing mock tests and practicing together, because what that does is it obviously creates a very healthy environment where you can compare and understand the kind of mistakes, and at the same time you're motivated towards working, because when you do it yourself, it creates slight, I would say, we get a little lazy, we procrastinate sometimes, right? So that problems can be avoided if we are doing it together with with one or two people, I would say. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and at the same time, I think, yeah,
Please.
I think this is one another benefit to doing this in a group manner, that you can help each other with your weaknesses, like your own strengths and weaknesses. So, for instance, if I was very good in legal and my friend was not being able to cross the score of 40 in legal out of 50, and I was crossing 40 consistently, where I was not doing well in math, I think that used to be a quid pro quo, in the sense that he then had a benefit deriving from me if I could help him with his pain points in legal, and he could help me with how to get more marks in quant. So this is also, I think, another added benefit,
right,
that you can solve each other's problems that way.
Right. So Rajat, I think ये भी एक प्रॉब्लम है आजकल थोड़े से लोगों का, that they feel कि the entire environment around them is too negative. You see, there are COVID related news and everything. If we look at social media, if you go to Instagram, Twitter, anywhere, everybody is talking about COVID, the number of people suffering, and all of that things. That also creates a kind of negative vibe around them, and that obviously hampers the preparation. So what is your advice as to how do these people come out of that and just concentrate on that one goal?
See, I was I was extremely, I was on the other spectrum, in the sense that I was very extreme when it comes to preparation. I had gotten rid of my smartphone back in the 12th grade when I was preparing, and I was quite extreme, but I do not suggest that in today's day, because I think a lot of preparation happens online, and you have to read up a lot on a consistent basis from online sources, and how will you attend Unacademy sessions if you're not having a smartphone? Obviously, if you're relying on your laptop for that, you can do so. But the core reason why I did something that extreme was because I personally feel that social media is a big, is a big problem for myself. Sometimes you get stuck in that loop where you're consistently just scrolling on apps, and you don't know how much time you've wasted. So that sort of kills your productive hours during the day. So I think one way to deal with something like this is you should delete those apps if you really, and this is for if you really want to be on social media, you want to catch up with what's happening. I personally would advise that for the next 3-4 months, 2-3 months, whatever the horizon of the CLAT exam is, you can sort of get rid of them completely. The apps like Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, etc. You can keep WhatsApp, because how else will you communicate? So you can do that. If you do not want to do that, another solution could be that you could tell yourself that, okay, this is high time. I have realized that I waste time on social media apps, which are not even adding to my preparation, for that matter. So, for instance, Unacademy, that way, if you attend 2 hours of classes, during the day, you are adding a lot of productive hours to your preparation itself. You're not wasting time. But on the other hand, some apps like Instagram, you might be wasting time. So you can tell yourself that, okay, for 5 days of the week, I will delete the app. And on Saturday and Sunday, I will reinstall the app, and I will, sort of allocate 1 hour to it. And, that will be a breather as well, sort of refresher. But I will not waste any further time on it. And that's how you get rid of the, social media problem, as well as the problem that you're reading a lot of negative news about.
Rajat, somebody is asking a very good question. I think all of us had this question, that our parents, or generally people who are like one generation above us, they feel that being a lawyer is all about litigating. It's about wearing that black robe and going to a court and arguing. Okay, so you have changed it, right? You did not do something like that. You move into something very different, right? So was it from the very beginning when you entered the college you had all this idea, or you developed it over a period of time? Where did you get this idea of getting into a corporate law? I mean, a lot of people do, but then you have to channelize your mind like that. You have to tell people that no, there are some certain other things. That is why you should become a lawyer. That is why you should take CLAT in the first hand. How was that part of the journey, and like was there any kind of confusion at your house as well, wherein people were not sure as to what lawyering can provide to you, what as a lawyer can you become, and how can you become successful?
So I think that's a very relevant question to ask, because when we are jumping into the world of CLAT preparation and law exams, we're not really sure what lies ahead of us. I myself wasn't sure. I knew for a fact that if I get into a top five, top six, top seven, eight NLU, I will do well for myself because I will have a platform to begin with, and that platform is extremely important for someone who's a first generation lawyer. And and you would also relate to this. You are a first generation lawyer, I am a first generation lawyer. I think a lot of us just need that starting platform to begin with. And in the process of when we are in the law school, we realize we interact with a lot of seniors, and we see the kind of exposure that the law school provides us. We have a lot of options just coming in front of us, and then we are in a better position to take a stand on what interests us and what we want to do. So like most of, like how you pointed out, most of our families think that law, if we do law, we have to go to the court, and that's the only opportunity that will be there. But I think times are changing. A lot of companies in-house, I won't go into the technical terms of it, but a lot of companies hire lawyers for their legal teams. Law firms, I think everyone would know by now, even the CLAT aspirants, that law firms focus a lot on hiring good quality students, good quality lawyers from these good NLUs. So I think having that platform opens up a lot of opportunities to you. And this is not just restricted to law firms, so to say. There are a lot of other options that I myself didn't know in the first year. For instance, I didn't know that you could, as a lawyer, take part in the process of drafting of laws itself, by something like a public policy, which I think you pointed out in one of your sessions.
Yeah.
So I think that is an advantage of starting at a platform like a NLU Jodhpur, or any other top NLU for that matter. And the second thing as to how I sort of got interested into corporate law was that firstly I had a commerce background, so I always used to think in terms of businesses, etc. Like I studied like economics, etc. So my inherent interest was towards like commercial laws because of that. And once you once you start interning, I think internships are one of the biggest factor in deciding what you end up doing. So I think I tried everything in law school, in the sense that I interned with litigation lawyers, I interned with litigation firms, I did small firms as well, I did tier 1 law firms. And after that I sort of realized that starting at a tier 1 law firm provides me ample opportunities to hone my skills, and at the same time work on some of the best legal matters that are ongoing in the country. So that is the reason why I decided to make a career, or sort of start my career with a corporate law firm, because of the kind of opportunities it provides.
Right, Rajat. So, when you entered the law school, I think you got to know a lot about corporate world and all of that, and a lot of factors. Obviously, being from a very good college played a very important factor. But why is that? Like, what is that hype about NLUs that you feel is justified, and NLUs create that kind of a difference in somebody's life, in changing your career, in changing your, you could say destiny, in changing what are you going to do later in life. How did NLU Jodhpur help you with that? And yeah, something related to that as to how did NLU Jodhpur basically channelize you towards being an associate in one of the top law firms in the country. So guys, right now we're discussing about his college life and how did he get that job. Okay, what was his journey towards that job. फिर we'll again come to his job and discuss all the questions that you might have with respect to his job. Okay, so let's first start as to why and how did he get into it and how did he start doing this. So guys, for your convenience, Rajesh Sharma received 4 offers. There's something called day zero on our, it's called a placement day. Okay, so there were 4 top law firms in the country that offered him a job on that day, and obviously you can choose only one of them. So he got 4 offers, and that had never happened before in the history of the college. Okay, and it has not happened even now. So he's somebody who has gotten the maximum number of offers from NLU Jodhpur ever. Okay, so he's going to discuss that journey, and this is going to become very, very important and very intriguing for all of us. So I hope you have a patient hearing of that. So Rajat, we would really like to understand the kind of experience you had, the way you started as somebody who did not know much about law as such, or like forget corporate law, you did not know a lot about law. And those 5 years, how did it transform your life in 5 years, and you made it to one of the top law firms? We would like to know that journey.
So I think before that, I think it sort of becomes important to explain how a good NLU, makes a difference in the beginning. And before that, I would like to point it out that even if someone doesn't make it to top five NLUs, the life doesn't end there. Every law school has something or the other to offer. But being in a top five NLU, these top NLUs, the hype is justified in the sense that the kind of platform it provides. I had already pointed out that you open yourself to a new world of opportunities when you enter these institutions, because they are the top. They consist of the cream of students who are preparing for their law exams and now want to become lawyers. So firstly, that platform is very important because it gives you the motivation to compete, and at the same time it gives you the motivation to improve on a consistent basis. Then I think one of the biggest advantages of coming from an NLU like mine is that the kind of network strength that the NLU holds. And by network strength, I mean the alumni support, the alumni group that the NLU has. So 15, 16 batches of NLU Jodhpur have passed out. I think 15 batches have passed out. So everyone who was part of that 15 batches is still connected. And these are people who are working in law firms. These are people who have become IAS officers now. These are people who are partners in their practice areas. These are people who have opened their own law firms in various cities. And now I think 5 years from now we might see a senior counsel in a high court. So I mean, this network itself becomes very important because this helps you speak to the kind of people who you want to aspire, who you want to become, who you aspire to be like. So I think that way, being from a good NLU is extremely helpful because you see all these people all these alumni who are doing different kind of things, and you can always approach.
I think that was my experience also. So Rajat and I studied for 5 years together. We were really good friends. So we are really good friends. So it opens a lot of avenues for us. If you are from a top law college, it opens all the avenues. You can explore a lot of things. If you want to go to litigation, go into corporate law, go into policy, even if you want to teach, do whatever you want to do, everything is open, and the general respect, the general pride that you take with yourself is something which is like, I think, unmatched. And that absolutely I agree with you. Okay, somebody is asking that your voice is not still clear. I think there is some bickering in the voice, so you can maybe put it down only and you can speak a little louder.
Okay.
It will be better. Yeah.
Sure. That's fine. So I mean, these 2 points are quite important. Then I think I was moving on to the third biggest advantage of being from a good NLU is that our recruitment cells have great connect and great understanding with a lot of good organizations, not just law firms, not just restricted to law firms. We have good connections, we have good understanding and rapport, so to say, of NLU Jodhpur and NLU Jodhpur students with these organizations who sort of come to recruit, and that is quite helpful because I think NLU Jodhpur provided me the platform to be able to do the kind of internships that I did. So being a first generation lawyer, I got a chance to work on the Nirbhaya matter in the Supreme Court in my 4th semester. That I think would not have been possible if not for NLU Jodhpur, because see, a lot of law, we all know that there are generation lawyers, etc. So where is that point where you can have that advantage being a first generation lawyer? So NLU Jodhpur made sure that my application to Siddharth Luthra sir's office goes and gets considered for an internship. So I think I'm quite thankful to my college for something like this. And similarly, I think the reason why I could do tier 1 internships is because of NLU Jodhpur, because NLU Jodhpur, made sure that my applications are considered properly. And obviously, a lot depends upon where you stand, how you do in college, etc. And I think I'll come to that in the second part. But these are sort of the advantages that come with being from a good college. And lastly, I would like to point out that we were put into a college, bunch of 115 people from different parts of India. The kind of cultural opportunities that it opens up, because if you're in a regional college, or let's say a college that does not have a lot of diversity, then that is a sort of disadvantage, because you're not opening yourself up to different cultures, different people, and how they do things, coming from places where they're coming from. So this sort of cultural opportunity that NLU, all NLUs in fact, which provide you, is I think unmatched. That is about like advantages that an NLU can provide. Then I think my college life has been a mix of everything, because I decided that I am going to NLU, I will explore it in as many ways possible. So I think because NLU Jodhpur specifically provides such a great platform, not just for academics. Academics I think is a core to NLU Jodhpur, because we have the system of consistent tests which keep you on track, and we have courtroom exercises which sort of ensures that you get a flavor of arguing just while you're a law student. So I think these are the core academics which NLU Jodhpur provides, which I had given due importance to. But I did not want to be, someone who's just into books all throughout law school, because then what's the point of going to an NLU which provides multiple opportunities? That's how I think of it. So I ventured into sports as well, and I think you would agree to this, that I tried playing a lot of sports back in college. I tried my hand at cricket, I tried my hand at badminton, I played football. So I think doing a bunch of activities in your college is quite helpful, because again you build your circle around the kind of people you're working with. So I did moot court competitions, and I also sort of did lot of non-academic work as well in my time at
Rajat,
NLU.
a lot of people have this question these days that we do not know when CLAT 2021 is going to happen. Okay, so it could be 2 months from now, or 3 months from now, or maybe 4 months, like it happened last time in September. People feel that they've wasted some time in maybe preparing for boards and they did not start with their CLAT preparation. A lot of people have started now with their CLAT preparation. Now, is this possible for them to do well in the exam, or like, is it too late, or what is your take on this?
So I think it does sort of demotivate you a little bit, but I don't think that demotivation is justified, because a lot of people sort of have managed to clear the exam and get to play good colleges just after preparing for 1 month after their boards in the past as well. So for instance, we I think had batchmates who had prepared for just 1 month and gotten into NLU Jodhpur. So I think just telling yourself in your head firstly that it is possible will be quite helpful to begin with. Then secondly, how to go about it is that you have to focus a lot on your strategy. You have to boil down, looking at past year papers, you have to boil down to certain topics that are extremely extremely important for you to do. And the focus should be on mocks a lot, because if you take a lot of mocks, you will be very well placed to take that exam on the final day. Let's say if you have 1.5 months, 1.5 months from today to prepare, then what I would do is I would make a list of topics that I definitely should be clear with. Then I will from first week onwards, I will start taking one mock a day. I will not get demotivated by the scores that I'm getting, because I know that this is for a purpose of making myself comfortable to take the exam on the final day. So going about your preparation in a very structured manner will be helpful. Then I think doubt clearing sessions on Unacademy, and a lot of important current affairs. Current affairs I think becomes very important, because it's not just about remembering the pinpointed facts that okay 1878 mein something happened, or 1847 mein something happened. It's a lot about understanding concepts as well, even in current affairs these days. So I think, like, I would like to give an example, the Lakshadweep controversy that you made a video on. So something like that, I can always read facts and try to rote learn those facts. But if I understand a doubt clearing session of yours, or I see a very well explained video of yours for 10 minutes, I think that audio visual memory will be quite helpful on the last day if I get a question on the Lakshadweep controversy. So I think you have to sort of differentiate your preparation from others, and at the same time, if you are partially comfortable with certain areas in the exam, for instance, if you are good at maths, so you will be able to sail through that section very easily.
What should these people do, particularly in say current affairs or legal reasoning, that constitute the largest chunk of the paper? Because a lot of people are not very sure about current affairs and I would say legal reasoning also. So what should be their approach ideally under the new pattern?
I think current affairs becomes important not just from the non-legal current affairs perspective, but also from the legal awareness perspective. So firstly, from legal awareness, legal current affairs perspective, it's good to just, skim through websites such as Live Law and Bar and Bench, because just for 15 minutes, just see what's come up today. Don't go into the, factual scenarios of the judgments that are getting pronounced, but try to understand what major amendments are being made in the law. So let's say if there is a constitutional amendment, so something like that is extremely important from a CLAT perspective, because that forms part of your legal awareness. And let's say if some major law is getting amended by virtue, or some principle is getting amended, so these things you should follow by way of Live Law and Bar and Bench. And for current affairs, I think it's extremely important to sort of not get into the loop of reading too much about every topic, because see, there will be a vast sea of information. So you have to tell yourself, you have to limit yourself to, the kind of questions that are getting asked. You can't, prepare as if you're preparing current affairs for us from a civil services perspective. So just trying to give an example to compare between a CLAT current affairs preparation and a civil services current affairs preparation.
But you need slightly comprehensive preparation, right? Comprehensive preparation is very important for CLAT also under the new pattern.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, we are also doing in our classes very comprehensively. We are covering a lot of topics. Okay, somebody's asking, sir, what was your CLAT rank in 2015 when you cleared CLAT?
So my CLAT rank was 248, but funny enough, the CLAT that we gave was, a very random CLAT. A lot of random things were happening. Results were getting withheld. Ranks were changing, etc. So my rank eventually got changed, and my final rank was All India rank 236.
Okay,
I got into NUJS. I got into NUJS, NLU Jodhpur. And after considering a lot of personal factors which were suitable to me, I decided on NLU Jodhpur. Okay. And I think it was the best decision that I made.
Yeah, pretty much. So for your understanding, guys, I would say, I think everybody would want to know this very funny fact. Rajat sir also got into NLU Delhi. Okay, he had cleared the cutoff in the end, but then something very unusual happened. Okay, so what happens is, when a lot of people are stuck at one mark and there is only one seat available, they start seeing 12th board ke marks. Okay, and Rajat sir had 97% in 12th board exam. Okay, he had 97% in 12th board exam. Uske baad mein he realized that there is somebody else जिसके 97.25 थे. Okay, इनसे एक नंबर ज्यादा थे, and that is why he couldn't get into NLU Jodhpur. NLU Delhi. Okay, so that was a very funny story, and we used to discuss this for all 5 years in a very funny way, because he was already in a very good institute. Okay, somebody is asking, what was the timetable that you followed during your preparation? What was the timetable, and how did you plan the entire day?
See, I think having a timetable is really helpful, because, as I said, your preparation is always kept in a structured manner for that. So I was someone who did not take a drop, and I was preparing alongside my 12th board exams. And I also wanted to excel in boards, just for the off chance that I have to, use my board percentage to get into a non-law college, just as a backup. So I was focusing on boards as well as CLAT, and what I used to do was I used to allocate certain hours of the day mandatory to CLAT. So for instance, first 6 months of my 12th grade, I think, I had decided that 2 to 3 hours I will dedicate to CLAT, no matter what, no matter if I have a school test or, some random pre-board exam which does not even get counted. So I knew that I have to, allocate 2 to 3 hours on a daily basis to my CLAT preparation in the first 6 months of 12th grade. Now, once that time is crossed, now I'm more comfortable with my, concepts and, areas that I have to focus more on. And then after that, I decided not to go back to certain areas and only focus on my weaknesses and mocks. So exercise, I think sectional tests are quite important. So for instance, if I'm completely clear with my thoughts, I can take a thought sectional test of a 50 marks or 100 marks, and then, I'll be quite confident about my thoughts once I've done that. So that used to be my strategy, and once I was in the last 6 months phase, board preparation also picked up. So I decided that I will take one mock each week, analyze that mock for an hour or two, and then whichever areas I can figure out that are problematic from that mock, I will do it in the next week. So it sort of built a cycle around my preparation. And in the end, I think I decided to allocate 10 to 12 hours dedicated preparation, I think, in the last 1.5 months after boards to CLAT. So I won't say there is a fixed rule to something like this. It completely depends upon how much you think your preparation is lacking, how much of the syllabus you've already covered. So because I had already covered my complete legal syllabus in the first half of my 12th grade,
Right.
I did not go back to the concepts as such. Then I just took tests. And
But
all
sir,
the mocks
Rajat,
sort
for
of helped
21
me.
aspirants particularly, I think they have 2.5 months left. So what kind of timetable would you suggest them in a scenario where a lot is left to cover? Because from the past year paper we saw that the questions were pretty recent. Okay, they were from the past 5 or 6 months only, and particularly talking about current affairs. But there were other questions also. I think they need a holistic understanding of their timetable, because obviously nobody can cover all 5 sections in one day. So they want to understand as to what is the kind of timetable they should follow now in next 2 and 2.5 or 3 months, whatever is left.
So I think since there are no boards, as I said,
Yeah.
and people who have taken a drop for the exam anyway do not have any for other commitments from an exam perspective. So I think having at least dedicated 6 to 8 hours of the day for your CLAT preparation is must. 6 to 8 hours of dedicated preparation. When I say I am not including mocks in that, because mocks have to be separate from your amount of other reading or any other sectional tests that you're taking. You have to sort of take each mock on a, let's say if you're comfortable taking one mock every 3 days, then do that. I won't suggest take one mock each day and tire yourself out, because there is no competition that I have to reach 100 mocks or I have to reach 60 mocks. It has to be ample number of mocks which make you comfortable. So I think dedicated 6 to 8 hours of preparation. In that also divide your time in the sense of you have to ask yourself, where am I lacking again? You can't if I tell you that, okay, my legal was the strongest, I used to get 45 out of 50 in my mocks, then I don't think legal is quite important. I am not suggesting that, because legal is extremely important. If you think that some of the legal concepts, the very basics, in the sense that ingredients of a tort, if they're not clear to you, and you're again making similar mistakes, then go back, give two to three dedicated hours to ingredients of that, ingredients of torts that you're not clear with, and then go back to solving the questions for that tort. So you have to ask yourself where you're lacking.
Rajat, okay, this is about the preparation that you did for the last 2.5 months. Somebody is asking that there must be something that you should like you would have done on a daily basis to take your mind off the preparation. Basically, to refresh your mind maybe for 1 hour or so. What was that activity that you undertook, and what is generally that you would recommend?
So I think what I used to do is that I used to have, a 1 hour sort of a session for football or cricket with my friends from school. We all used to, live in nearby localities. So that's what we used to do. But I understand that's not quite possible during current day, because you can't just step out and make a group and play, because that's not safe firstly, and I think every area has local lockdown restrictions. So I think what can be done is that depending upon what you prefer, you can completely switch off from preparation. Don't use your phone a lot while you are doing that, because it will divert your mind to something that you don't want your mind to be diverted to. You can read books if you are into fiction or non-fiction reading. That completely takes your mind away from preparation. And I was a big football fan. So even in that 1 month that I was preparing for the CLAT exam, I used to make sure that 90 minutes of football a day I have to watch to take my mind off from preparation. And 90 minutes is not a lot. 90 minutes of a football game is not a lot. It will refresh your mind completely. So this is quite a personal choice, but an hour to 90 minutes you can divert to something that sort of takes your mind away from preparation. You can just sit with your family and have a chat about anything, like anything.
Yeah.
How is your preparation going, or any issue that is that your family thinks they want to discuss from you, they want your view.
Somebody
So
is
something like
asking
that can be
about a
done.
foreign exchange program in NLUs, and like this particularly the top NLUs. How does it help them, and what are these foreign exchange programs that are provided? Very quickly, in 2 minutes, you can tell us.
So foreign exchange programs are quite helpful in the sense that you spend one semester of your law school in some other foreign law school, and it's sort of a symbiotic relationship that their students will have experience of your law school. So NLS, GNLU, NALSAR, NUJS, all these colleges have exchange programs. How it benefits is that it is completely taken care of. Your student amenities, etc., are completely taken care of, and you get a new perspective on how some other institutions across the world teach law. So you get a different perspective on how law is taught, because they might have followed a different methodology. And at the same time, I think you make new friends. Obviously, you will make friends from your law school wherever you're going. And the biggest advantage to my mind is that you will get to explore a new country. Because I think I am a travel freak, and if you do something like an exchange for 4 months, you can visit around a lot of places, because the pressure
Somebody
of
is
that law
asking,
school
is it in
will not
NLU
be allowed.
Jodhpur? It is actually not there in NLU Jodhpur right now, but I think they were trying to do something about it. I think by the time you guys reach NLU Jodhpur, they will start something like this in your second or third year. There is a good possibility because it has started. Okay, somebody is asking, a friend of mine entered the ICG at the Hague and from JNLU Gandhinagar. It's obviously a great experience. There's definitely things like these. You get a lot of opportunities of what is happening around the world in the field of law. Even when you do moot courts, you travel around the world and you visit places. And the best part is when you travel for this particular thing. I mean, for mooting, the college sponsors you as well. Okay, so that generally happens. So you can visit the entire world. I would say a lot of good countries on college's money. Okay, Rajat, let's not talk about your law career, as I mean your corporate law life. Okay, people have a lot of questions to ask, so I'm going to take some of these questions. The salary, a lot of people are asking for salary. It ranges from 15 to 18 lakhs for all the top 10 firms. Okay, it ranges from 15 to 18. Rajat sir is in top three. I mean, his firm is in top three. So it ranges from 15 to 18 lakhs in all the top 10 or 12 law firms. And so, Rajat, what has been your experience so far, and how have you been liking the corporate law culture generally?
So I think experience has been great. I would say that it would always be much better to start off if you're in the office itself, because then you are interacting with your seniors on non-work related issues as well, not just work related. Right now, most of our communication is related to work,
Right.
but at the same time, I think experience has been great, because when you're in the law school, you'd approach law from a very different perspective. You approach law from a learning perspective. When you're reading a judgment, you want to extract the legal principles that the judgment is talking about. But I think the approach completely changes once you are in the practice of law, once you're in a law firm, because now your approach becomes very client focused, and whatever you're reading, you have a purpose behind it, that okay, I have to read this because I'm working on a petition in which I have to cite a ground. So this judgment will help me make that ground. So I think that approach changes once you're outside the law school. And nobody, I think aspirants don't need to care about that approach at the moment. I think law school will teach you that approach. Secondly, I think working with some of the best clients in the country has been quite helpful, because it sort of makes you understand how work is done within companies, how legal work is sort of, supplied to clients, and what are the problems that arise, the practical problems in law that we face. Because when you're in the law school, you are, again, you're reading everything from a theoretical perspective. The practical points you understand once you're in a law firm or you're in the law practice. So I think now I've understood, I'm getting to learn a lot of practical, application of law. And a firm like mine, Cyril Amarchand, I think provides me the great advantage to explore different areas of law, because of something that we call a rotation policy.
Right.
So I was earlier doing hardcore corporate law. For 6 months, I was doing mergers and acquisitions, wherein we were providing legal advice to our clients who were, either acquiring a company or merging into a company or making huge investments into a certain company. Now I'm doing dispute resolution since the last month. So dispute resolution is the classic sort of, more classic form of law practice, where I am working for clients who have their legal matters in the Bombay High Court, in the Supreme Court, or any other tribunals. So now I am reading a lot of judgments. I am working on legal cases, so to say. I am making appearances. So I think that is I think a great advantage to work in a law firm. That practical knowledge comes very quickly. Your learning curve is very high when you start working in a law firm like mine.
Rajat, what pushed you? I mean, during college, I mean, I'm pretty sure that there were certain friends or certain people who obviously pushed you because they were doing so well, and you feel that you need to do well to be able to survive in this place. That was one of the motivations. And what are the other motivations that you had that you could do so well? I mean, a lot of others did really well in college, but what was your motivation behind it? That yes, this is something that I want to achieve in life, and I did.
So I think first point is that motivation cannot be forced. You can't force yourself to read, law, or you can't force yourself to read a judgment. It has to come out of interest. So I think once you enter the law school environment, your interest develops in certain parts of law, certain areas of law you get more attached to because you feel that. So for instance, a lot of my friends became extremely interested in criminal law in the beginning, whereas I became very interested in something called a competition law, which has a background to economics, which I always liked, and that's how I started reading a lot of it. So I think interest is, I think first and foremost, is what will drive you to do better, because that will come naturally to you when you're in the law school. Secondly, I think the competitive environment of being in a law school like ours sort of drives you to do better, as you pointed out, because when you see that your peer group, your friends are trying to do well and trying to understand, trying to do a lot of activities for that matter, because our college specifically, I feel that has a great exposure when it comes to non-academic things as well, because we have a crazy sports culture. We have a great our general non-academic culture is great. We have a great legal aid and awareness committee which does such good work for providing help to legal help to the needy. So I think when you sort of see people doing these different activities, you also want to explore. You don't want to sit back and be like, okay, ab main NLU mein aa gaya hu, life is sorted. I don't think that is how it should be. And you should tell yourself when you're entering a law school that I have made it here because of my hard work in CLAT. But now the CLAT journey is over. Now how I will do well is when I try different activities, when I explore my interests, and at the same time I manage to do well in academics. Because at the end of the day, if you want to do well in a recruitment perspective, you have to have a decent rank, you have to score well, and study for your end semesters, etc.
Rajat, people are asking that are people in NLU Jodhpur or generally in top law colleges, are they interested in going for further exams like judiciary or UPSC or exams like these? Are like, is there a really interest of the people in these colleges in these things?
So it is quite correct. Actually, I think NLUs have made a reputation of just making sure that everybody who enters an NLU goes into a corporate law firm, but that's I think quite untrue. So a lot of my seniors as well as a lot of alums from other colleges do prepare for exams like judiciary, prepare for exams like UPSC civil services, as well as there is a different exam for becoming a legal officer in the army as well. So I think these sort of exams are taken by people, and they are paid great respect to their preparation is paid great respect to. So I think our immediate senior Harshit Sharma was preparing for the judiciary exam in his final year itself, and from his batch I think we have 2 to 3 judges at the moment. So somebody that junior, a graduate from law school, is already a civil judge. So people do prepare. That's one. I would also like to give another example for a lot of people who prepared for civil services and cleared it. So a lot of NLUJ alums are in the civil services. The current UNESCO Indian representative is a NLU Jodhpur graduate. So I mean that itself sort of gives a great example of where people from NLU Jodhpur are currently located.
So basically, guys, the thing is, people are there in in very diverse fields. Okay, when you come to a college like NLU Jodhpur, people are doing a lot of things. It's just that who you look up to. Okay, who is your idol? और आपको क्या लगता है कि हमको किसको देखकर ग्रो करना चाहिए? So a lot of people go into corporate law because there are some very good seniors, there are very good people who are going to corporate law and they've done really well in that field. There are people going for judiciary, there are people who are going for UPSC, people are going for litigation, a lot of different fields. Once you get into that college, you understand a lot of these things. Okay, So, is there any CLAT related question? Okay, somebody is asking internships in the first year. You don't get internships in the first year. You have to intern in NGOs and all, because first year you're not too sure about how law works and everything. So that is slightly problematic. But anyway, you get internships after that. Uh, Okay, any other CLAT related question we'll be very happy to answer, and Rajat sir is here for 10 more minutes. He'll be very happy to answer all your concerns on CLAT related issues. Uh, okay, NLUJ campus is pretty. Okay, somebody is asking NLUJ campus is pretty as compared to NLS or Nalsar. Is that something we need to consider?
See, I think campus considerations are always there when you are sort of going into the campus. So for instance, I used to think that NUJS is a very small campus and NLUJ is a huge campus. It provides the kind of facilities that it does. Because I thought that, you know, a college which has great sports facilities, etc., I would want to be in that college. As opposed to, you know, a college which is similarly placed when it comes to rankings and exposure and opportunities, but it's a very small campus, so certain opportunities might not be there. So I mean, the campus being pretty should not be a major consideration. Like, don't do something like, okay, you know, an Alsar's campus is not so pretty, or something like a GNLU campus not so pretty, so I won't go there. Don't do that. But I think it's an added benefit if your campus has all sorts of facilities. It's you know, pretty in the sense of that it has a lot of greenery, which I think NLU Jodhpur provides.
Okay, so
I think most
actually,
NLUs
I
have.
misread the question. Somebody was asking that it is pretty isolated from the city, actually. Yeah, so that is the problem. See, even if it's isolated, you don't get a lot of time to get out of college anyway. Okay, because there are so many activities happening within the college that you stay in the college and do a lot of things. Okay, how is the law faculty? Okay, are you talking about the law faculty in NLUs, or you're talking about the faculty of law Delhi? Because okay, Rajat, you can tell us about the kind of teaching pedagogy that is, you know, followed generally in our law colleges, in the top law institutions, NLUs particularly.
So I think a lot of focus is on research, because you know, there are assignments and projects which sort of helps you to research into different areas and questions of interesting questions of law. So that is one. Then I think the majority of the teachers also focus on sort of making you understand the key principles of a certain law that they're teaching. Because see, it's not possible for anybody to teach you and make you rote learn the entire criminal procedure code in 4 months, because it has 400 plus sections. IPC for that matter has 400 plus sections, and these laws cannot be learned. I mean, cannot be rote learned. But
Right.
application of the key principles of criminal law can be very well taught in law schools like ours, and which is, I think, the focus. I would say that NLU Jodhpur specifically focuses a lot on practical application of what you've learned in classes because of its courtroom exercises, which I think some other law schools have also started, you know, imitating NLUJ's courtroom exercises, where you're given a proposition of law and you argue in front of your law faculty as if the law faculty is a judge in the court and you are the advocate. So I think this is a good mix of, you know, research, academic understanding, and practical application.
Okay, this is a very good question that I am seeing. Okay, so a lot of people are asking कि आप दोनों BA LLB से थे क्या? So guys, both of us were commerce students. We had commerce in +2. We had a BBA option in college, but for some reason both of us took BA. Okay, and we still consider as one of the worst decisions of our life. So if you have commerce in +2, we suggest you go take BBA if your college gives you that option. All the colleges do not have that option. I think NLUD or Nalsar does not have an option of BBA or any other stream. NLU Jodhpur
NLS
gives you that
also
option. You
doesn't.
should always exercise that option. Okay, somebody is asking, okay, why so? Okay, I will tell you why so. Rajat, I think you can quickly tell us as to why BBA if somebody has a commerce background and BA otherwise.
So BBA from a commerce background, biggest pro is that it will come naturally to you. If you have made accounts in your 12th boards, if you have made balance sheets, and you know how accountancy and business studies, economics works. So it will come very naturally to you, and you won't have to put a lot of effort to understand how accounting works. That is, I think, biggest advantage. Then second is that generally it is more objective to mark in terms of the marks that you get from these exams. So apart from theoretical subjects, if there is a practical subject like subject like in accountancy. So I think there are three different branches of accountancy that you study in BBA LLB in a college like mine. So you stand a chance to score much higher than somebody who's an history topper, because a history topper in the BA stream will be writing theoretical answers, and there is no set 20 on 20 answer when it comes to theoretical papers. So I think that is another advantage, that BBA subjects are more scoring.
Right.
And because BA and BBA have a similar rank list, there is no different rank lists in any of the colleges. You stand to have a chance to have a better rank.
So I think people are still, I think there is a little bit confusion. They're asking comparatively, will it not be difficult to study BBA over BA? No guys, it is not difficult at all. See, BBA and BA, they are stream subjects. You get 2 subjects per semester. Scoring in BBA is slightly easier if you have a commerce background. Even if you were not good in accounts or other subjects, it helps you. It helps you a lot. Okay, that happens a lot. Okay, somebody is asking, what is, I haven't studied accounts, so what will be difficult for me to do BA? No, see, a lot of people from science background also take BBA. It's your personal decision. But generally in NLU Jodhpur, we have seen that scoring in BBA becomes easier, because see, you're going to a law college, you don't want to spend a lot of time on the stream subject. You want to concentrate all your energy in the law subjects. So stream subject जितना easy रहे उतना better रहता है generally सबके लिए.
But at the same time, I would like to add one factor that you can consider at a personal level, which I personally considered, is that if you want to explore something completely new. So for instance, I was a commerce student, but I at the same time was quite interested in subjects like political science and history. So history was used to be and still continues to be my favorite subject outside law. So I think that can be a consideration, but at the same time, you should also see, if you will be able to manage those kind of scores which are required, and consider that these are all theoretical papers.
Rajat, one last question to you for this. A lot of people are asking, if not NLU, there are certain good private colleges also in the country. How are they different from an NLU, and what are the kind of opportunities that those private colleges provide to people?
So I think, as I said in the beginning also, the top 5, if you don't get into a top 5 NLU, that is not the end of the day. And what focus should be, your focus should be to make yourself do better wherever you are. That I think has to be applied to somebody who's in NLS for that matter. If you go into NLS, you don't do anything for 5 years, it makes no difference whether you're from NLS then. So you have to explore, you have to use the opportunities, you have to work towards, making sure that what the opportunities you're getting are being utilized by you. So I think that is one. Then I think there are a lot of good private colleges. I wouldn't want to name them, but I think everyone is aware of the good ones in the country. While the fees might be on the slightly on the higher side as compared to NLUs, but at the same time, I think a lot of private colleges also provide great academic and non-academic environment. And if you do well, once you have to stand out at the end of the day, you have to do well, as I said. So if you do well at a personal level, I think there is a sea of opportunities. And at the end of the day, advocacy and legal profession, it's not like the management profession where you have to graduate from IIMs to get a better salary. Everybody can practice law once you have a law degree and you have enrolled, and you can always climb up the ladder even if your initial platform is not that high up. So don't lose hope. And keep working towards your interest.
Okay, one again, sorry to taking a lot of time, but this is the last question. People are asking about foreign law firm placements, the magic circle firms, which happens in NLU Jodhpur and some good top law universities in India also. What is just say about that? How should somebody prepare to get into those law firms which are in other countries, in the UK and in some other countries as well?
So firstly, I think NLS, NALSA, GNLU, NLUJ, NUJS, all these NLIO, all these colleges will provide you a great opportunity to be able to apply to these firms. So what happens is that in your fourth year, there are magic circle firms. There are magic circle firm is basically a term used for London-based law firms, which are have top standing across the world. So these law firms give you an internship. The first consideration to get that internship is that your rank should be at least in the top 10, because for them it is very difficult to sort of understand who stands out apart from considering academic scores. So if your aim is to get into a foreign law firm, since the beginning you should ensure that your rank is very high up, your rank is in the top 5 or top 10 or top 15 at least. Then I think the second consideration is that you should be generally aware of commercial things that are happening in the country. So these law firms do not care about how much commercial law you know in the beginning, because they want to understand you as a person and how you apply law. But your commercial awareness comes in handy since the beginning. For instance, if you understand that why, let's say, Walmart brought Flipkart. Like everybody knows Walmart brought Flipkart, but what was the exact reason that Walmart bought Flipkart? So if you follow, certain business publications, online publications, your commercial awareness will be good, and I think this matters a lot to foreign law firms. At the same time, I think foreign law firms take a maximum of 15 students from throughout the country in a year. So the chances are not extremely high. But I think if you're in a college like ours, it is a great pedestal to apply to.
So guys, you guys have a crazy career ahead. Okay, you guys have a very good career ahead. All we need to do is put in that last effort and clear this exam, go to a very good college, and then you can start your career again. I mean, when you go to an NLU, there are so many fields that you can explore. There are so many things you can do, and only sky is the limit. So I hope that you are going to work really hard for the next 2.5 months. Rajat, thank you so much for your time. It was very, very fruitful for all of us, and we had a very good time. Thank you so much for sparing 1 hour from your very busy schedule and giving your time to us. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you again in class tomorrow. Thank you so much for attending this session. Bye, guys.
All the